Beautiful look there at the Chicago River on what is turning out to be a bit of a cool and even somewhat cloudy night here from downtown Chicago, one of the best cities in the American League. The Mariners and the White Sox beginning this 4-game series from U.S. Cellular Field. Glad you could join us, Aaron Goldsmith, alongside Mike Flowers and our entire Root Sports crew, as the Mariners coming off a 3-3 homestand, a series win against the Oakland A's most recently. And well, Mike, how about we take a look at Lloyd McClendon's starting lineup here tonight in Game 1.
Thank you, Aaron. Tonight's starting lineup is brought to you by Chevron. Ketel Marte going to lead things off, 400 on base percentage for him. And it's the hot-hitting Austin Jackson second. Cruz, Cano, and Gutierrez in the middle of the lineup. Mark Trumbull will be at first base. He'll bat 6th. The DH tonight, Jesus Montero hitting 7th. Brad Miller getting a start at third base. Kyle Seager getting the evening off. Brad will hit 8th, and Mike Zunino will round out the 9 for the Mariners. For Rodon on the year, 5-5 record, 4.22 ERA, 114 strikeouts to 58 walks. Opponents hitting .264 against him.
You can't help but notice the uniform tops tonight and pants for the White Sox. The big collars, untucked, 1976, the throwbacks. Of course, in '76, in August of that year, they wore shorts with theirs, Mike.
I think they should have brought the shorts back out tonight.
If you're going to do it, go all the way.
All the way with it.
Sanchez, easy play for the first out of the ball game.
Take a look at the defensive setup for the White Sox. Brought to you by American Family Insurance. Cabrera in left field, Eaton out in center. Trace Thompson getting the start in right field. Saladino, the third baseman. Ramirez and Sanchez playing up the middle. Jose Abreu, the first baseman, and Tyler Flowers will do the catching this evening. Last start for Rodon. No decision against the Mariners at Safeco Field. 7 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. Only one of them earned at 4 walks and 8 strikeouts.
Austin Jackson climbing in the midst of a 5-game hitting streak. It's in 12 of his last 14. Coming off a day off. Now Rodon making his 2nd straight start against the Mariners. In his last 3 starts, he's been lights out. Opponents hitting just a .184 against a hard-throwing rookie. A 1.23 ERA in those 3 starts. He falls behind here, though.
He has a good fastball. He'll be 92 to 95 miles an hour. Mix in a slider. That's his best pitch. That'll be anywhere from 85 to 90. An occasional changeup from him.
Right side and through. A base hit there for Austin Jackson. And the Mariners have their first base runner tonight. A 1-out single.
We've seen quite a bit of this over the last few weeks, especially with Austin Jackson. Average continues to climb. Came into the game hitting .263. He will add to that with that base hit going into right field, but consistently staying up in the middle of the field. Really hasn't pulled off the ball in a few weeks and is paying off for him now.
That's now a 6-game hitting streak, 9 for his last 19 in that span. And here comes Nelson Cruz, 1 out, 1 on. Nelson looking to extend a 36-game on-base streak. Far and away a career best and the best in the American League this year.
Aaron, you were commenting on his numbers earlier, and I think that's the thing that's the most impressive. I expected him to hit home runs, maybe not as many as 40 like he did last year. He's right there on the door getting ready to do that, but his batting average and the amount of hits and the consistency at which he's been able to get on base has been impressive for a power guy. I mean, you just don't see very many sluggers that can do what he has done this year.
And really, when you look at his career, Cruz was a late bloomer in a lot of ways in baseball, and he just continues to get better and better the longer that he's in the game. It's been a long time in the minors before finally breaking into the big leagues. And you can see it's a pretty rare list of hitters who lead the league in hits and home runs. Jim Rice of the Red Sox, the last to do it back in 1978. That's how long we're talking here. See Cobb and Gehrig on that list.
And for Nelson, tied with Ian Kinsler. Kinsler already played, did not get a hit today, so a base hit will put Nelson by himself at the top of that list.
First in the league in homers, first in slugging and OPS, second in extra base hits. Time called late. Rodon, 22 years old. He was born in Miami but went to high school and college in North Carolina. And Mike, we've joked about it before that with Cruz, you look at his 39 home runs, maybe half of them, at least a third of them, you thought, well, that's not going to get out of the ballpark, because any other hitter, the trajectory on some of his skyscraping homers, that's out 10 feet in front of the warning track, but not with Cruz.
We showed the 3 home runs that he hit on the last homestand, and the last one against Oakland that ended up out in the Mariners bullpen was one of those towering shots.
There's a liner. Cabrera leaves his feet, and he makes the catch. Well, he hit it on the screws. Deserved a hit there, but it's out number 2.
And on that one, just didn't get the elevation on it. Solid line drive. It looks like he hits a slider at 87 miles an hour.
Put that on a baseball card for Cabrera.
There you go. Take another look at it in our Alaska Airlines Supermo. It's great.
We'll have it all night. 2 outs. Jackson at first. He's singled to right field. It brings in Cano, trying to lengthen a 7-game hitting streak. Cano has good success here in this ballpark. He's reached in 14 of his last 15 games here at U.S. Cellular Field, hitting nearly .340 in that span. Rodon began the season in the bullpen, then moved into the rotation. He is really tough on lefties. Left-handed hitters batting beneath 200, and only 3 extra base hits he's allowed to a left-handed hitter this year.
He has struggled at home. His ERA at home, a 5.22 ERA for him.
Cano ahead of the count, and now ahead 3-0. Goody on deck with 2 outs. Keeping an eye on Jackson. And a 4-pitch walk. Cano is aboard with 2 outs.
Again, in his outing against the Mariners at Safeco Field, he had 4 walks to get through the 7 innings, and he ended up pitching well, just the 1 earned run. But to get through 7 innings, he threw 116 pitches. That tied a season high for him.
So the Mariners threatening early. This has been a problem for the White Sox this year. They've allowed the 2nd most runs in the 1st inning this year in the American League. And Rodon working with 2 on and 2 out. It's been a tough year for Robin Ventura. High expectations, high hopes here on the South Side after a very busy winter for the White Sox. They really won the offseason in the division in terms of moves that they made. Hasn't paid off yet, though. And Rodon having a hard time finding the strike zone. He falls behind 2-0 after a 4-pitch walk to Cano. Good numbers recently for Gutierrez. Jackson a single now at second. Cano the 4-pitch walk. And now it's 3-0. So Franklin in the driver's seat here with 2 outs and 2 on, and Trumbo on deck.
Trumbo, another one of the hot hitters for the Mariners. Starting to hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's good to see.
Back-to-back 4-pitch walks from Rodon, and the Mariners have him loaded. And this will bring out an early visit from Don Cooper, the longtime pitching coach for the White Sox.
And you can see 20 pitches, only 7 strikes for him so far here in the early going. Struggling with his fastball command, trying to mix in his slider. Mariners this year faced loaded situations, hitting .217 as a team. It's been a struggle for them.
How much advantage for the Mariners, Mike? How much disadvantage for Rodon making his second straight start against the Mariners?
I think it's a big advantage to the Mariners. It should be. To have an opportunity to see him and pitching 7 innings, you probably saw him 3 if not 4 times in that game, so you have a much better idea, especially coming into the ballpark today. You get the scouting report, but you can visualize his arm slot, the speed of the ball, what his slider breaks like. I think the Mariners are at an advantage this time around.
Because there's got to be a big difference facing a guy twice in 1 year. Back-to-back starts, or once in April and once in August.
Well, and the other biggest thing about it is they'd never seen him before until he pitched against them at Safeco Field, and now they have a much better idea.
First pitch to Trumbo, and he finds the strike zone for the first time in a while. It's 0-1. Trumbo, an 8-game hitting streak, 2 homers on the homestand.
And a pretty good fastball. He was late on the fastball. You could see it on the EQC tracer. It was right down the middle at 94 miles an hour. A little bit of a late swing by Mark.
Bags packed, 2 outs. Down on 3 pitches as Flowers holds on to it. And the Mariners waste a prime opportunity early. They leave them loaded. Rowan Azalea back in the Mariners rotation, making his first start for the Mariners since July 2nd at Oakland. We last saw him working out of the Mariners bullpen at the end of the last homestand. Elias starting tonight, game 1 of 4 against the White Sox. And he faces a White Sox starting lineup. Mike, we'll take a look at it.
For manager Robin Ventura, you have to go right to Jose Abreu. 24 home runs, leads the White Sox. Trace Thompson off to a good start, 522 average with a couple of home runs in just 11 games.
Facing Adam Edom right away in a first pitch strike. Right off the glove of Marte. Had a hustle to his left. And Eaton, who does such a good job at the top of the order for the White Sox, on base right away.
And for Elias this year, 4.22 ERA in 79 innings. He has 64 strikeouts, 26 walks. Opponent's hitting .242 off of Elias. Good fastball. He'll be 91, 92 miles an hour. Curveball, changeup.
That's a base hit for Eaton to begin the ball game. Now facing Cabrera. Here comes Miller's first chance at third. A bobble. Everybody's safe. Miller making his first career start at third base. He's had some time, Mike, a little bit off the bench, but that's an error on Miller.
Take a look at the rest of the defense for the Mariners. Franklin Gutierrez going to start in left field. Jackson in center. Nelson Cruz out and right. You just saw Brad Miller at third base. Marte and Cano playing up the middle. Martin Trumbo at first base. Montero the DH today, and Mike Zunino will do the catching. You're absolutely right, Aaron. It's a completely different look. When you're used to being in the middle of the diamond, it's that kind of hop right there that you can get around, get a better angle on. And at third base, you're not afforded that. So it takes some getting used to. Kyle Seager typically makes that play look really easy, but when you've been in the middle of the diamond for most of your life, that's a I wouldn't say it's a difficult play, but it's tougher than what he's used to.
A tough start for Elias, who gets 2 ground balls right in the vicinity of the left side of the infield. First to Marte, then to Miller. And now you have to face Abreu with 2 on and nobody out.
I know for myself, when I signed as a shortstop and was moved over to third base, and it took a little bit of time to get used to it. But for Brad, right now, he's playing so many different positions too. It's not as if he was able to go out and just work at third for the last 4 or 5 days, knowing he was going to get this start. We saw him in left field. We saw him in center field the other day. He's been at second base. That's why it's not an easy job, but hopefully for Brad right now, he's embracing it, because what it is doing is it's keeping him in the lineup every day, being able to do that.
It's his 5th start at his 5th different position in his last 5 games.
Yeah, it's tough.
And learning on the job.
He's such a good athlete. Lloyd feels that he can do that with him, so we'll see how it goes.
2 on and nobody out. Abreu ahead of the count. The White Sox took 2 out of 3 against the Mariners on the last homestand at Safeco. But then after coming back home, they just finished up the 3-game series against the Red Sox. They dropped 2 games out of 3 to Boston. Losing last night, they were shut out.
Pretty good fastball from Elias at 94 miles an hour. I think it surprised Abreu a little bit, because he wants to stay out of the middle of the plate. And that last fastball right down the middle at 94, and a late swing by Abreu. He has power to all fields.
Abreu, 24 homers, 77 RBIs, last year's American League Rookie of the Year. Marte out of Cano to first base, and plenty of time, but a double play, exactly what Marte was needing. Eaton survives. He's at third.
We'll take a look at the ground ball. Abreu does not run well, so if you're able to field the ground ball, it should be an easy double play, and that's exactly what they get. Cano takes his time at second, making an accurate throw over to first, gets him by a couple of steps.
So now Leah's working with Eaton at third base, facing Garcia. DHing tonight for the White Sox. To left field, Gutierrez comes in, can't make the catch. Eaton scores, and the White Sox have an early 1-0 lead. Just dropped to Flarin. And Mike, sometimes it's not how hard you hit it, but where you hit it.
Where you hit it is right. Respecting the power of Garcia. Franklin Gutierrez was playing just in front of the warning track, and he gets jammed on that fastball. Another good fastball at 94. Closing on it, looks as if it went right off the end of his glove.
That leadoff single comes all the way around to score. First pitch missing to Trace Thompson. Tonight playing in only his 12th major league game. He's off to a hot start though. 12 for his first 23, including a couple of homers. Hard hit shot, and it is a foul ball. You can hear that from Wrigley.
He turned around a pretty good fastball at 93 right on the inside corner. Quick hands.
Of course, most back home know Trace's brother, Clay Thompson, former Coug, 3-point specialist. Now with Golden State in the NBA. Two and two.
Pretty good changeup from Elias. 87 miles an hour.
Garcia, the man at first after the RBI single. Keeping an eye there. Another 94-mile-an-hour heater, Mike. Pretty lively fastball early on tonight, like you've been saying.
No, he has a good fastball tonight. We really haven't seen his curveball. Only a couple of changeups. Well, it looks as if the first time through the lineup he really wants to use his fastball. The encouraging part of it, keeping the ball on the ground here in the first inning, and that's what you want to do in this ballpark.
And he gets some chasing outside. And there's the off-speed pitch from Elias. He strikes out Thompson. Garcia stranded. And the White Sox lead it by 1 after the first inning. Mariners team store location. Save up to 30% off select caps and apparels, plus school supplies and collectibles. The sale ends on Sunday. Beautiful night here from downtown Chicago. 1-0 White Sox threw one, and we caught this after Rodon was leaving the mound after it turned out to be a somewhat lengthy first inning. And Mike, maybe a blister of some kind?
Starting to develop. Maybe has a little hot spot on there. Concerned about it. He came back out to pitch the second, so the trainers went to work on him.
Montero will lead things off in the Mariners' second. And this is a big reason why Jesus is here, Mike, facing lefties.
To hit left-handers, and he's going to get an opportunity to do that. And I think from talking to Lloyd, he wants to see him get quite a few at-bats. They have to make some decisions on a lot of different people going into next year. And if you look at this series, 3 out of the 4 pitchers are going to be left-handed, so he's going to get a real opportunity here in this ballpark.
One of the left-handers will not be Chris Sale, who pitched last night through 7 scoreless and a no decision. On the other hand, the White Sox will not have to face Felix.
And I'm going to guess that since the Mariners just saw Chris Sale pitching at Safeco, they're fine with that. That's okay.
Not a problem at all. Sale right now leading baseball with 229 strikeouts. That is his career best already.
At Safeco, he topped out at 99 miles an hour.
And the thing with Sale that was so impressive, he had the almost triple-digit velocity. We all knew about the slider, but his changeup when he used it was just a tremendous pitch.
Now you're absolutely right, Aaron. It was a difficult day for the hitters all the way around. And they really, outside of, there was a 3-run home run off of Trumbo, and I believe it was on his changeup out to right center field. But that was one of the few mistakes that he made, and I'm not even sure that was a mistake. I thought maybe it was good hitting by Mark Trumbo to get to that pitch and hit it out of the ballpark. At the time, it was 4-3 ball game.
Yeah. So not a problem that he will be in the dugout for these 4 games. Strikeout victim number 2 for Rodon. You got Trumbo to end the first of the bases loaded.
A couple of fastballs early in the count to handle. He ends up putting him away with the slider. That's where he wants to throw it, right at his back foot as he swings over the top of it.
That brings in Brad Miller. In Rodon's last start against the Mariners, he threw a season-high 44 sliders. You would think that he would throw that slider a lot to a lefty like Miller, but Brad said earlier today that he only got 1 slider, which he actually threw for a strike. And you can see the pitch selection here.
A lot of fastballs from him. You're going to get an opportunity, and you can see the league hitting 307. His changeup doesn't throw a lot. The league hitting 313 off of that, but his slider, you're right, 153 batting average at 87 miles an hour, and at times he'll hit 90 with the slider.
And Miller caught looking.
We'll take a look at the last pitch. There's the slider, 89 miles an hour. Inner half of the plate.
So 3 straight strikeouts dating back to the end of the first. Trumbo, Montero, Miller, they've all been on the slider. First pitch to Zunino. Starts him off with the heat that time. Rodon barely had time to even unpack his bags when he was in the minor leagues. He threw less than 35 innings in the minors before getting the call up. Broken back, ground ball out, and the side sat down in order. After a lengthy top of the first, Rodon cruises through the Mariners' second. Seattle Mariners baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Honda. Get a dream deal on your favorite Honda now at your Honda dealer. By BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. And by Silver Reef Hotel Casino Spa, I-5 exit 260, Ferndale, Washington. Take a look there at the Hancock Tower. Beautiful day here in Chicago as we have made our way to the bottom of the second. Game 1 of 4 against the White Sox. Alexi Ramirez leading things off, and he goes after the first pitch. Right to Austin Jackson. Easy out number 1. Now, Mike, an unearned run for Elias in the first inning, but got the ground ball double play, and the first 2 balls that were put in play, both men reached a single and an error, and both run grounders that a chance that the Mariners defense could have made.
No, you're right, and a good sign is keeping the ball on the ground. But I think the other thing is he's had a good fastball here early on at 94. I wasn't expecting him to throw that hard. We saw his changeup. I'd like to see his curveball a little bit more as he works his way through the line at the second time.
Here's Saladino, the third baseman. When you think back to Elias last year, you think about his curveball, how much he used the curveball, but is the changeup as good, if not even a better pitch at times?
I think he has better command of his changeup, and I think that's something that we saw him develop last year and start to gain a lot of confidence. And there's a good changeup again down in the zone. But I like his curveball more early in counts. Steal a strike with it. Give him something else to think about. Even if he throws it for a ball, make him think about it a little bit.
Another fly ball, this time to Gutierrez.
Great example right there of why his changeup is good for him. He throws the changeup, gets the strike, and then he's able to come right back with a fastball in on the hands. You can see his fastball percentage at 55%. That's pretty good. See the curveball down at 18%. His changeup percentage back up at 27%, and hitting just 160 off of both of his off-speed pitches. And I think his changeup, though, is the reason why he was able to jam the hitter on the last at bat to get that lazy fly ball to left, because of the changeup.
And they got Ramirez on the first pitch. You got Saladino on the third. So
there's a curveball.
Pretty quick start.
And a good curveball, 79 miles an hour. Throwing it early in the count.
Sanchez, a switch hitter. Got him thinking, and he goes around.
Sanchez, good series for him in Seattle. Made the most of the 3 hits that he picked up, because he ended up with 5 RBIs with 3 hits.
Did some damage back at Safeco Field. Elias trying to make quick work of the second. Sanchez fights off another 2-strike pitch. Now the White Sox this year have been certainly disappointing offensively. They are 14th in runs in the league. They're 14th in on base. They are last in the league in slugging. 28th in baseball. 2-out base hit for Sanchez.
And that was a situation where maybe Elias, trying to throw a little bit too hard, missed his spot. Mike Zunino wanted that pitch on the inside corner. They had him set up for it, but the fastball ended up out over the plate and elevated as he slapped it into right field.
Well, it's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Just use the hashtag RTNWDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. This is Flowers, the catcher. I don't know, Mike, when you look at the White Sox, and it took until the last homestand for the Mariners to see the White Sox for the first time this year. These two teams have so many similarities right down to the close ball games. Over half of the games played this year by the White Sox have been decided by a run.
Well, and the other thing about it, and you and I were talking about this before the game, you look at their production in the first half. 3.4 runs a game is what they're averaging. The second half, they're averaging 4.74. Then you look at the Mariners in the first half, 3.51. And in the second half, 4.76. So even their offenses are continuing to do the same thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, the light bulb has kind of gone off for both teams since the All-Star break. Now, the White Sox were last in the majors in runs and on base and in slugging in the first half. Dead last. You take a look at a comparison of this season between the Mariners and the White Sox. Both teams a win away from number 60 on the season. The Mariners have slugged far more home runs. Runs per game almost dead even. White Sox have the edge in terms of the pitching this year. Now, the last 7 games, the White Sox have really heated up even more. They're hitting over 290, and they're averaging about 8 runs a game over the last week. Hard hit to Miller. On to first base, and the pick there by Trumbo on the other end. A runner left for the White Sox as we go to the third. As the Mariners trailing 1-0, the L getting a lot of action as it does every day here in downtown Chicago. Well, the next time you catch a Mariners game at Safeco Field, make sure to meet everyone's favorite mascot, the Mariner Moose. He'll be hanging out in the Seattle Children's Moose Den located on the main concourse in center field. So stop on by and say hi. Carlos Rodon, the young lefty, 22 years old, facing Ketel Marte back at the top of the order. Marte ground out to begin the ball game, but in the midst of a brief 4-game hitting streak, but Mike, more than that, a 13-game on-base streak.
And he hit that hard.
Abreu stays with it. There's out number 1. We'll take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next as Taijuan Walker gets the call tomorrow night in Game 2. He'll be opposed by John Danks. We saw Danks back on the homestand. And this should be a really fun one on Saturday, Mike. Iwakuma versus Jeff Samardzija. You can see his ERA is higher than probably those here in Chicago would like to see, but that's a great pitching matchup nonetheless.
Oh, it'll be a great pitching matchup. I'm curious to see Mike Montgomery, see what he's going to do in that outing on Sunday.
Rough one in his last start for Montgomery, just an inning and a third. 1 out for Austin Jackson.
Austin with a base hit to right field his first time up. Has his average up to 265 now.
Jackson, a 6-game hitting streak with that single to right field. He's got a hit now in 13 of his last 15 games. Trying to think, Mike, how many pitchers are throwing a 90-mile-an-hour slider and controlling it for a strike?
Not many. It's unusual. And for him, at first, when I first saw that, I thought, well, maybe it's just a cut fastball. It's a slider.
Out number 2, both on the ground. How can you tell the difference?
This is the rotation of the ball. You can see it spinning like a slider, and it has a little bit more break than you would expect from a cut fastball. And you take a look at it right there, another slider in on the hands. That one at 89 miles an hour.
Rodon has sat down 6 in a row. It was back in the first when he loaded the bases up. He dealt out back-to-back 4-pitch walks to Cano and Gutierrez, but then got out of it. Now having to face Cruz. Cruz thumps the first pitch out to Cabrera. Can't get there. Nelson Cruz, his first hit tonight, makes the turn, steams into second, and he's out. Cruz a single. Cabrera pegs him at second. But the on-base streak extended for Nelson Cruz, now 37 games in a row. Right there, you normally think of Cabrera, the damage he does with the bat, but here, Mike, he's able to get Nelson Cruz trying to stretch a single to a double as we take a look at our Big Fish Casino big catch.
He's always had a strong throwing arm, but this is an accurate throw. It is right on the money at second base. Easy play and tag right there, and he's able to hold on to it as Nelson slides into second.
Watch out, Eaton bails. That's a lot closer than it looked like it would be.
Sanchez, the second baseman, didn't really want to stick his nose in there, and I don't blame him with Nelson Cruz bearing down on him, so he was trying to protect himself.
Ground ball base hit. That's the second one of the night for Eaton. Well, it turns out to be a single for Cruz, so his on-base streak is extended now to 37 games. He's knocking on the door of Troy Tulowitzki and the Matt Holliday, who got his streak started at the very beginning of the season. It ran from opening day until June. Cruz already the longest in the American League. Of course, Tulowitzki, his streak came with the Rockies. So here is Cabrera with one on and nobody out. In Elias's last start with the Rainiers, he pitched very well. That was on the 18th. It was in Oklahoma City with 7 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. He punched out 7. And really, that followed, Mike, a pretty decent string of clunkers for Elias when he gave up 23 earned runs over 17 2/3 innings. And that final start came at a good time. Then his being called back up to the Mariners.
Well, it came at a good time for him and the Mariners because they needed him, and pitching has been a bit of an issue. So they needed him to not only come back to the big leagues and pitch for the club, but to pitch well. And so far, he's done that in this one. Just 1 unearned run. I think, again, Aaron, when you look at his minor league numbers, you have to consider the fact that I'm sure he was really disappointed to be there and didn't want to be there and probably didn't feel that he deserved to be there. And when you go through that, sometimes you just go through the paces and those kind of numbers will hit you. And maybe somebody got to him and said, hey, you'll go back as soon as you have a good outing, and maybe he bear down on that last one, the reason why the numbers were so good.
There goes Eaton. Cano, only play. First base. One out and a man at second base. I'll stick around after the game for Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. We'll take you inside the clubhouse, get sound from Lloyd McClendon and others from tonight's game. One out, Eaton with good speed at second base for Abreu. Abreu, like Elias, from Cuba. I think, Mike, when you talk about the feeling for Elias of not wanting to be in AAA, I think some people might think that, well, once you have a start or a week or 2 weeks, that kind of wears off. But from Elias, from everybody that we've talked to about the situation, it kind of seems as though that lingered for Rowanus.
Yes, you're right about that, and it's, you don't like to see that, but I can tell you it's difficult. And if it's a situation to where he has to deal with it again at some point in his career, it won't happen this year. As we're coming up on September, I think maybe his attitude will be a little bit different about it. Because I'm sure that once he was here, people explained to him that you might have been here sooner if you'd have been able to pick yourself back up and get after it. And I'm sure that he learned that.
Eaton a single, then moved to second on the ground ball out by Cabrera. This is thumped to center field. Jackson off his glove. Eaton will stroll home. Abreu, a run scoring double. It's 2-0 White Sox.
Eaton scoring both of the runs for the White Sox so far. And we constantly talk about Nelson Cruz hitting the ball hard. Well, Abreu, you can hit the ball hard too. You can see it down and in, and you're not going to hit a line drive much harder than this one. And he almost handcuffed Austin Jackson all the way out into center field.
That's the first hit for extra bases tonight for the White Sox. 0-1 to Garcia. And Elias ahead 0-2.
Another good changeup from him. He was able to jam Garcia his first time up on a good fastball in on his hands. And after the changeup, he may try it again. Pitch was elevated a little bit, so he was able to fight it off and pick up a base hit.
Ground ball to Cano. And there is out number 2. Well, U.S. Cellular Field has not been friendly to the Mariners since the start of 2010. You can see, Mike, this is very lopsided. 18 wins for the White Sox, only 4 for the Mariners, and boy, the starters' earned run average really sticks out too.
And the home runs, the difference in home runs. You look at the White Sox with 44 and the Mariners with just 20 over that time. You look at 18 wins to just 4 wins. That's a rough go. And I saw all of those games, by the way, Aaron, in case you were wondering. And
that was my next question, Mike.
And a number of them were heartbreakers, where you thought you had the game won and something would happen late in the game that would cost the Mariners.
Seems like probably every team in the majors has that one place, that one trap.
Yeah, and it's hard to try to find a reason why or to explain it. Sometimes it's just the way things happen. I know the Mariners had a number of those losses. It was 9th inning home runs that would beat them. Paul Konerko, a big part of that.
Trace Thompson ahead, 3-0. Konerko, his number retired. So many great years here with the White Sox. When Jose Abreu came into the fold last year, meant that Konerko wasn't needed quite as much. Could ease up a little bit in the final stages of his career.
What a great career he had here in Chicago. Curtis reminds me that a Mariners issue was in the early to mid 90s when I was playing for the Mariners, when we would go to Oakland, same type of thing.
That buzzsaw effect.
Just things would just happen, stuff that you can't explain.
Smash down the left field line and a fair ball. Abreu trots in. Thompson in at second base. Back-to-back. Pardon me. The second run-scoring double here in the bottom of the third for the White Sox. And they've opened it up now to a 3-0 lead. Now, one thing we know in just seeing Trace Thompson, Mike, in a handful of at-bats, when he hits the ball very hard.
No, he does, and he's off to a great start coming into the game, hitting .522 with a couple of home runs, and that's just in 11 games. Just missed a double his first time up, pulled the ball foul. This time he's able to keep it fair and pick up an RBI. White Sox now are 3 for 5 runners in scoring position. On the year, hitting .256, so that number is going up for him.
Two outs for Alexi Ramirez, who flew out to center field. Last time up in the second.
Missed with the curveball. Ramirez over the years, he's very aggressive on the fastball early in the count, so he tried to get ahead of him with the curveball, but almost hit him in the back foot with it.
Eaton and Abreu have both scored here in the bottom of the third for the White Sox.
No surprise taking a swing at that fastball at 93 miles an hour.
Thompson at second. Now Alexi Ramirez, an all-star last year for the White Sox. Now in his 8th season of the big leagues, all here in Chicago. Ramirez entering tonight batting .238. That average far down from what he ended last season. Just over .270. Hit .280 the year before. Count stays put, 2 balls and 2 strikes. For the Mariners, only one more road trip after this one. The final 2 trips of the year for the Mariners, long ones. This is a 3-city trip. 10 games, 11 days. 4 games here, 3 in Houston, then an off day on to Oakland. Weekend series against the A's. Another foul ball.
And for Elias, his pitch count starting to get up there on 54 pitches. Long at bat for Ramirez. This will be the 7th pitch of this at bat.
Little flare right there to Marte. And that'll do it for the White Sox in the bottom of the 3rd, but they cash in. They grab 2 more runs, and through 3, they lead it 3-0. Well, on the road and traveling, want to watch your Mariners? Just subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on demand on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and a whole lot more. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Oh, Mike Young, Carlos Rodon really has settled down since that lengthy top of the 1st.
He's had a lively fastball tonight. We've talked a lot about his slider. Basically the 2 pitches that he has been using. You can see 3 innings, just 2 hits for the Mariners. A couple of walks. They weren't able to take advantage of that. It was back-to-back walks. That was in the 1st inning. Mariners ended up with the bases loaded with 2 outs and were not able to score.
Cano breaks his bat. And 1 pitch, 1 out. Seems like that's not the first time we've heard that sound tonight.
No, again, he has some late movement on his fastball. Has some life to it when he gets up to home plate. Seeing even when he's not jamming the guys, seeing some late swings on his fastball. And you would think at 93, 94 they'd be able to time that a little bit better. But sometimes because of movement or life in front of home plate, it'll get on you a little bit quicker than you expect it to.
Gutierrez drew a 4-pitch walk his last time up. New baseball out to Rodon.
And that's just a well-located fastball right at the knees on the outside corner. Frankie Gutierrez taking that pitch, wasn't going to be able to do much with it if he decided to swing at it.
Behind of the count, the 1-2. Able to stay alive. Rodon threw 23 pitches. In the first inning, he faced 6 batters. He's thrown only 26 since, as he faced the minimum in the second. Did so again in the third. Despite the single by Cruz, who was out at second base trying to make it a double. You can see the pitches by inning. And now Goody runs the count full. Trumbo on deck. A strikeout on a slider to end the first inning. And he cuts through that. A changeup that time, maybe, Mike. I'll take a look at the Mariners calendar, brought to you by Sleep Country USA. 4 games here on the south side of Chicago. Then it's on to the division-leading Houston Astros. That'll take us, if you can believe it, into the month of September, and then a day off in Oakland, San Francisco. 3 games with the A's in the homestand coming up, 4 with the Rangers, and then interleague play against the Rockies. Have we seen much of the changeup tonight, Mike?
We haven't. No, I was surprised to see it. I thought maybe he would try his slider again. He's had really good command of it, able to throw it for a strike when he wants to, or bury it at the right-hander's back foot. And he decided to go with a changeup, and it worked out for him.
That's now 4 strikeouts tonight from Rodon. Struck out 3 in a row from the end of the first to the start of the second. Rodon taken number 3 overall last year by the White Sox. The Astros passed on him with the top pick, and they chose Brady Aiken, who of course they could not sign. He was drafted this year in the first round by the Indians. High towering fly ball. Cabrera has all kinds of time. And the side sat down in order for the 3rd straight inning after that 26 pitch first for Rodon, who's now in a groove. Check it now with our Geico this date in Major League history. We look at Harold Reynolds tying a big league record for assists by a second baseman in a win, Mike, over the Baltimore Orioles. Harold looking good in that old school Mariners ball cap.
Harold could cover a lot of ground. Not surprised to see that. Of course, great base stealer.
Wasn't it Harold who was thrown out at home on that remarkable play by Bo Jackson?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard him tell the story of it?
I have. That just came to mind for some reason. As Saladino skies the first pitch. Right there to Austin Jackson. It is pure comedy when he talks about it, isn't it?
I think even today, and I don't know how many times he's seen the replay of that play in the King Dome. I think he's still shocked by it. I don't blame him. Like I said, I mean, the biggest part of his game probably was his ability to run the bases, not just steal, but run the bases in general with a great speed. And I'm sure he looked out there as he was on his way into third thinking he scores easy, and the third base coach is waving him on. Next thing you know, he's out.
I think one of his comments was, as soon as it happened, he went back in the dugout and asked, who cut that throw on? Well, didn't quite go down like that.
No.
That was from the fence. One out for Sanchez.
Guess you never know why things happen, but Bo Jackson's career coming to an end as quickly as it did, I think, is a real shame. Would have loved to have seen him play for another 5, 6, 7 years.
No question about it. Hip injury. Foul ball. When you played against him, was he somebody that you had a hard time keeping your eyes off? You just want to see what he can do?
Yeah, you have to. He's one of the few guys that would bring opposing major league players out to the dugout during batting practice just to watch what he was doing. Yeah.
And that's during batting practice, not even.
Right. I mean, I heard even the great George Brett said that about him.
I'm saying something.
Right.
Two to Sanchez. Full count. Flowers, the catcher, on deck. Right back to Elias. 2 outs for the number 9 hitter. I'll change up your commute. Take our online trip planner for a spin at soundtransit.org. Mike, it's easy to forget that Bo came back and played here in Chicago early 90s.
Right.
That's when he was really hobbled. Was not the same guy at all, but still was Bo Jackson.
I can tell you this, though, and having been here and played against him when he came back, you mentioned after his hip surgery and all of that. Even with that, and you could noticeably see him limping, and even when he ran, it looked strange. But he was still faster than a lot of other guys in this league, even with that.
First 1, 2, 3 innings spun tonight by Roenis Elias, and that'll take us through 4. Well, 70s night here at U.S. Cellular Field as we go to the top of the 5th. And as always, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. That's the best background mic we've ever had to read that. It's a lot of hair. A lot of hair here in Chicago. Tonight, the White Sox have the 1976 throwback uniforms. Looks something like that. Montero to lead off the top of the 5th.
Montero strike out swinging his first time up.
That catches a big piece of Montero down to a heap.
I think he hit it right off the top of his foot. Rob Nodine, assistant trainer, making a trip out with Lloyd McClendon. We'll take a look, see where it hits him. It's on a changeup.
Initially, it looked like he'd be all right, but then down to the ground quickly.
Well, he was going to try to walk it off, and then obviously there was a surge of pain in his leg. Took him right to the ground.
Asked for a little help up. I'll give Jesus a moment. Now, first it looked like that was just off the foot, but Montero hanging in there. Montero trying to break out of a little bit of a skid right now. 0 for his last 11, 2 for his last 30.
We were talking about it in his first at bat. This would be a good time because he's going to get to play just about the entire weekend with all the left-handed pitching.
Watch out, the bat goes halfway up the seats. Meanwhile, the shortstop Garcia is there to get the out. And the slide by Montero might not help how he feels. Play by Ramirez there.
Amazing how this game works sometimes. After a couple of walks to load up the bases in the first inning, Rodon gets a strikeout to get out of the inning. And it's been almost perfect. There was a base hit by Nelson Cruz, but he was thrown out at second base trying to stretch it into a double, and that's been it. He has really had it locked in.
There's been nothing. Miller, one of only 2 left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight for the Mariners. Cano being the other. I mentioned earlier back in the first the numbers that Rodon has against lefties. He's just been devastating to left-handed hitters. 3 extra base hits all year.
Hitting under 200 against him.
Soft ground ball. Abreu with the tag. Yeah, lefty's hitting 194 against Rodon. A lot of ground ball outs tonight, Mike. If it's not a strikeout, it seems like it's been a ground ball out.
No, we were talking about it last inning with the slider. It has good tilt to it tonight. It has a lot of downward movement to it. And the same with its fastball. Late in life, The late swings and a lot of Mariners getting jammed on his fastball.
If you combine his ground ball outs and his strikeouts today, it's 11 of the first 14 outs. 0-2 on Mike.
He's starting to mix in his changeup a little bit more too. His changeup just off the outside corner at 84 miles an hour. 64 pitches, 39 strikes for him.
Way outside to make it a ball and 2 strikes.
That was his best fastball so far, hitting 96 miles an hour.
Zunino stays alive. Sometimes when you think about a lefty who throws a nasty slider, you think about that sweeping away from a left-handed hitter, but from what we've seen, Mike, he'll throw that slider to a righty like Zunino, to a lefty like Cano or Miller, and it doesn't really matter much at all.
No, and he typically throws it to the same side of the plate, which would be away from the lefties and down and into the right-handers.
And a change up there to get Zunino. Retires his side in order for the 4th straight inning. Look at the scoring summary here tonight for the White Sox, and it began, Mike, on this broken bat base hit there by Garcia.
Franklin Gutierrez trying to make the sliding catch, but Eaton will come in to score the first run for the White Sox.
And then it was in the 3rd inning, another broken bat. This time it was Jose Abreu and Trace Thompson, who can break a microphone. And that brings in Abreu. Thompson a double, so a couple of RBI doubles for the White Sox there in the 3rd inning. That has gotten us to this 3-0 lead.
And Eaton is going to lead off this inning, and he's been the leadoff hitter tonight. Had a base hit his first time up, scored a run.
Watch out. He hits the deck. That's happened already once tonight.
Well, they led off the 3rd when that happened and came right back and ended up with a base hit and scored another run. And we'll take a look at it. Elias will drop down from time to time. That looked like it was a breaking ball that just ended up getting away from him. It wasn't the fastball.
And that hits him.
That time it was the fastball. Take a look at it again. A fastball.
And that pitch at 91 miles an hour after the curve. The first pitch that Eaton was able to avoid. That brings in Cabrera.
And Eaton certainly didn't like that, but it was not intentional. He wasn't trying to hit him. He didn't want to put him on base to lead this inning off.
No, he's reached base twice in as many tries that he scored both times.
Right.
Popped up Cano's way. I'll be a walk in the park for out number 1. So Cabrera 0 for 3. Eaton has to stay put. That brings in Abreu.
As you might imagine, the outfielders played deep with Abreu hitting, and Austin Jackson was playing deep in center field, and he hit a line drive so hard to center field it still ended up handcuffing him, and he hit the double.
What a season it was last year for Abreu. He led baseball in slugging percentage, over .580. Drove in over 100, hit 36 homers. One out, one on. And the 0-1. There goes Eaton. Base hit into right field. Eaton cuts, makes his way to third. And the White Sox have runners on the corners.
Starting him off with a changeup and then comes back with a fastball at 93 miles an hour, middle away. Puts it hard into right field. Eaton was on the move, so he gets into third without a play. White Sox so far this evening 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position. One of those base hits by this man. Garcia stepping in.
RBI single in the first. Whips on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball there from Elias. This is the first time we are seeing Elias start for the Mariners since July 2nd at Oakland. 3 runs in that start over 6 innings. High fly ball. Gutierrez. Plenty of room. And there is out number 2, but Eaton tags and will sprint home, play at second base, and he's out at second. Abreu is out at second base. We'll see if the White Sox and Robin Ventura want.
I think he ends up beating the throw right here, but then his hand, he'll slide past the base and his hand isn't on the base, and Robbie stays with it and tags him out right there. He looks like he's out to me.
Yeah, that's a good play there. So a run in, but Abreu out at second base, and that takes us to the 6th. White Sox 4, Mariners nothing as we go to the top of the 6th. But boy, what a way to finish the bottom of the 5th. And you can see this is synced up. Eaton hustling home from third. Abreu trying to take second on the sac fly. And Eaton crosses home, and there Abreu is out. But Mike, if Eaton just lollygags home.
Yeah, or if the throw had been on the base, you could see where Cano had to start. He had to go off the base to get the throw and then come all the way back around. And by the time he made the tag, when his hand came off of it, Eaton would have already crossed home plate. Tim Timmons, second base umpire, right on it.
Boy, how many times tonight have we seen this? A one-hopper right back to Rodon. Marte 0 for 3, 3 ground ball outs.
He's only given up 2 hits tonight. One of them to Austin Jackson, who's walking up the home plate, and the other one to the man on deck, and Nelson Cruz. That's been it.
Now 8 ground ball outs for the left-handed rookie out of North Carolina. Two and one. Rodon has faced the minimum in every inning but the first. Another broken bat right to Sanchez. This is becoming an expensive ball game for the Mariners. Now Sunday, September 13th, it is Salute to Native American Day at the ballpark when the Mariners host the Rockies. The first 10,000 fans, 21 and over, will take home a stylish blue and yellow Mariners cap courtesy of EQC. Visit Mariners.com tonight for tickets. 2 outs for Cruz. Nelson extended his on-base streak with a single, which he tried to stretch to a double and was out at second base. The on-base streak now at 37 games. At this point, Cruz is now 10 games shy of tying the franchise record. 47. Alvin Davis back in 1984. Rookie of the Year. What a month of August it has been for Nelson Cruz. A dozen homers. Hasn't happened very often. 2-2. Another ground ball. Alexi Ramirez. And the side retired in order for the 5th straight inning. 10 pitches. That was it for Carlos Rodon. You think of him as a Red Sox, but he spent actually more time here in Chicago with the White Sox than he did in Boston. We take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings, and we'll focus in on the American League wildcard race. And Mike, at this rate, this is going to go down to the final wire. The Yankees, 4-game cushion, but then the Twins, the Rangers right there, and the Angels just a half game back.
Well, and who would have thought at the midway point that the Twins and the Rangers would be right there? The Twins were starting to struggle.
Right.
And the Rangers, nobody was even talking about them, and now here we are. It's going to be in September before you know it, and those two clubs are still there. I had to smile a little bit seeing that statue of Carlton Fisk. He seemed a little angry.
Yep, that's fair to say.
I remember the first time that I saw Carlton Fisk was in Yankee Stadium when I was a rookie with the Yankees. And you may have seen it, but it was when he was having a discussion with Deion Sanders at home plate.
Okay.
He did not like it at all. But Deion used to put some sort of thing in the dirt with his bat. That's fair ball.
Thompson doubled back in the third, and he's in at second base here to begin the bottom of the sixth.
He is going to be a crowd favorite in no time, but Carlton didn't like the fact that Deion would walk up to home plate, rake out the batter's box, and then he'd put some dollar sign or whatever.
Probably sign his autograph with the barrel of his bat.
Whatever it was going to be. And Carlton's definitely old school. Basically told him, why don't you just get in the batter's box? And then there was a discussion, and they kind of went at it right there at home plate.
Seems like two big personalities that maybe are a little different.
Yeah.
And steps Ramirez.
And Deion, who was a teammate of mine at the time, was a great teammate. I was shocked by the whole exchange. The way
you loved playing with Deion.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, a lot of fun.
People think of the flash and the gold chains, but good guy in the clubhouse.
Well, he's one of the guys that kind of at that point was able to get it with the media, and he knew how to play the game, and because he wasn't anything like that when the cameras weren't on.
It was a character.
Great. Yeah, he was fun. He was a lot of fun. Had a good time. Yeah.
Oh, Mike, we've covered Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. I think our night is complete at this point.
That's pretty good. That's the way that worked out.
That is pretty good.
Come on, Elsie, bring him home.
Thompson at second base. 3 pitches, all strikes. Ramirez down swinging. A changeup from Elias.
We talked about Ramirez being an aggressive hitter. This changeup well off the plate away to get him to chase it. Get ahead of him 0-2, 1-2. There's no reason to throw a strike. He'll swing it with one of the next couple of pitches. And really, the White Sox in general are that way. They don't walk a lot as a team.
Thompson at second base after the double, his second tonight. First pitch strike to Saladino. Thompson at second. Saladino 0 for 2, a couple of fly ball outs tonight. This time on the ground. Marte, an easy play. And there is out number 2. That'll bring in Sanchez. In print and online at SeattleTimes.com. The Seattle Times delivers deep sports coverage to your desktop, phone, or tablet. Make the most of the season. Visit SeattleTimes.com to subscribe tonight. 2 outs, Thompson at second base, and it brings in Carlos Sanchez, who has singled and grounded out tonight. And has really been the top half of the White Sox lineup that has done the damage tonight, and then it's got an on base, but Elias having to work with Sanchez here with the man right behind him.
No, you're right with Elias, and I think the biggest key is not having the ability to keep Eaton the leadoff hitter for them off the bases, because once he's on the bases, then you have to deal with Abreu, and that's never a good thing for any pitcher.
Well, Eaton has scored 3 of the White Sox 4 runs. He's singled twice, was hit by a pitch. First time this year that Eaton has scored 3 runs. Previous high was 2, which he's done countless times. He evens up the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. White Sox an unearned run in the first. They grabbed 2 runs in the third, then another run in the fifth. On the sac fly by Garcia.
At 85 pitches, if he can retire Sanchez, maybe get another inning out of him.
And he does. Gets him with the changeup. Sanchez down swinging, and Trace Thompson after the leadoff double goes no further. We're through 6. 4-0 White Sox. See, 10-year anniversary of the 05 World Series. A sweep of the Astros for the White Sox when the Astros were in the National League. First pitch missing to Cano. Well, the Mariners trying to get something going here against Carlos Rodon. Rookie left-hander. He has retired the side in order over the last 5 innings. Cano ahead of the count, 3-0. And a leadoff walk. Second walk tonight to Cano. It's been both the walks for Rodon this evening. We take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next tomorrow night. Game 2 of this 4-game series. Taijuan Walker making start number 26 on the season. The Mariners saw John Danks on the recent homestand. Our coverage begins tomorrow at 4:30.
High batting average against Danks at 280. Let's see the Mariner hitters take advantage of that.
They were able to get to him in his last start against the Mariners. Down for 7 runs. Here comes Don Cooper, the pitching coach. I saw Cooper early tonight when Rodon, it's really been a tale of 2 different pitchers tonight for Rodon. Was in all kinds of hot water early. Walked back-to-back hitters on 4 pitches, Cano and Gutierrez. Loaded the bases, got out of it, and then the Mariners haven't been able to get anything since. Patricia and Duke warming up.
Yes, well, I would think it would be a quick visit, and it is.
And remember, when you're talking about Rodon and the pitch count, when we last saw him at Safeco Field, he was over 100 pitches.
116.
Robin Ventura came out, and you thought for sure, okay, this is a rookie, 22 years old, number 3 pick overall. They're going to pull him.
Last year.
Left him in there.
Ended up throwing 116 pitches.
Was able to finish off the inning. Two balls and no strikes to Gutierrez. And just like Cano, Goody ahead early. Trumbo waits his turn on deck. Goody walked back in the first, had a full count in the fourth, ended up striking out on a changeup. And that time whipping on a fastball.
Still has a good fastball. He's been consistently 94. That last fastball at 95. Seen him top out at 96. 88 pitches, still throwing hard.
The 3-2. High lift to right center. Eaton pedaling back. He's out of room, and there it goes. Goody, a 2-run blast, and the Mariners are on the board, and they finally get to Carlos Rodon.
We've seen Franklin Gutierrez go out to center and right center field quite a bit this year. That is his 9th home run on the year, and Robin Ventura going to make a pitching change. But we'll take a look at this fastball. Elevated about belt high on the outside corner. And he'll hit it up into the seats, cut the deficit in half.
Well, Goody has shown some impressive pop this year. That is not a cheap home run by any means. Rodon is done, and he was looking immortal for the last 5 innings. The Mariners, more specifically Gutierrez, knocks him out of the ballgame. coughs up the 2-run shot to Gutierrez. And Mike can see the final line here.
Only 3 hits, but the home run by Gutierrez certainly helped after 3 walks, and he had 5 strikeouts, and he threw 90 pitches. Good stuff from him tonight.
Here is Jake Petrichka, the new pitcher, on the mound for Robin Ventura.
3.5 ERA, 51 appearances for him. Opponent's hitting .293 off the right-hander.
Hard hit ground ball into left field. First 3 Mariners hitters reaching here in the top of the 7th. And for Trumbo, that extends his hit streak to now 9 games. Well, you're invited to join the club as a 2016 Mariners season ticket holder, where you'll enjoy exclusive benefits and opportunities. If you'd like to test drive a Safeco Field seat, to find the location that's right for you, contact an account executive at 206-346-4001 or at mariners.com/16.
Seth Smith going to pinch hit for Jesus Montero. And Robin Ventura out of the dugout. He's going to make a pitching change. And it looks like Zach Duke.
So a short night of work for Petrichka. Faces 1 batter. That's Trumbo, who singles to left. Long stroll for Robin Ventura. Takes the ball, and that'll be it. We'll step aside. We've got a pitching change here. The 7th. Mariners down by just 2. Here tonight, the first of this 4-game series on the south side of Chicago against the White Sox. No time now for our T-Mobile Data Strong fan photo of the game. Check in here with Melissa Parker. Thanks for tweeting our way tonight, Melissa. Mariners are on the board here in the 7th. 2-run shot by Gutierrez. Petrichka out of the bullpen. Does not record an out. Seth Smith on a pinch hit. That'll face a new pitcher, Mike.
It will be the left-hander, Zach Duke. Mariners saw him in Seattle. On the year, 56 appearances, 3-4 record, a 3.40 ERA. Opponent's hitting just .215, but he's given up 8 home runs.
Smith is tying run. Lines this into left field for a base hit. Trumbo turns at second all the way to the corner. Trumbo held at third. Seth Smith off the bench. A double the opposite way.
And it looks like he's going to get a little cut fastball at 88 miles an hour. Luke trying to get it to the outside corner, more middle away, and he slaps it into the corner.
The Mariners were held off the board over the first 6 innings. They've scored twice here in the 7th, as you can see where Smith ranks among Mariners Devils leaders this year. And now Miller represents the go-ahead run. Behind 0-2.
In this situation with nobody out, you can see Brad out in front of that breaking ball. Looks as if he was trying to pull it, which is what you want to do in this situation. The infield is back. You'll pick up a run, and Seth Smith, who is the tying run, would move up to third.
And he swings right through that.
West stayed with the breaking ball, did not give in to him with a fastball. That last breaking ball just 76 miles an hour, and Brad out in front of it.
RBI chance here for Zunino. Trumbo at third, Smith at second. The way Rodon was throwing the ball over the last 5 frames, you wondered when the Mariners might get any type of a scoring opportunity whatsoever tonight. But Goody, the opposite field 2-run shot. That was it for Rodon. Now the Mariners in business for more with 2 on and 1 out. One and 2.
And Mike helping him out. Both those last pitches, they looked as if they were down and off the plate.
And they weren't. And he gets Zunino just like he got Miller. 76-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
So back-to-back strikeouts. See that pitch bouncing right off the top of the plate. Now they'll need a clutch base hit from Marte, the leadoff hitter. Marte 0 for 3, all 3 groundouts tonight.
And some serious swing and miss stuff from Duke. 5 swings and misses the last 2 batters. Now Marte has not seen many pitches tonight. 2 in his first at bat, 2 in his second at bat. Grounded out on the first pitch in his previous at bat. Loves his pitch to center. Eaton sets his sights on it, and the Mariners strand 2 runners in scoring position. They cash in though. The first 2 runs, 1 swing from Franklin Gutierrez, and it's time to stretch here in Chicago. How a Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list. Play today. A little cool but a pleasant night here from U.S. Cellular Field. Some Mariners fans on hand for this one. Opening game of this 4-game series. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, our entire Root Sports crew. Glad you can tune our way here tonight. Ronas Elias back up on the mound to work in the 7th. And you were saying this in the 6th, Mike. His pitch count was in such shape that if he could get through the 6th in pretty decent shape after that leadoff double to Thompson retired to sign an order, a couple of strikeouts, we would see him in the 7th. And well, here he is. You can see his pitch count just beneath 90.
Yeah, 86 pitches for him. And just for him, it's one of the things that I've appreciated about him a lot last year. He was able to do it, and that is pitch into the 7th to 8th inning, give himself a chance, even if he was behind, to get back into the ball game. The Mariners scoring 2 runs. You would have liked to have seen him pick up those other 2 runs when you had 2nd and 3rd and nobody out, but they weren't able to do that. But he's still out there. They can get through this inning, give the guys a chance to swing the bats one more time.
Hard hit liner, foul. In related Mariners starting pitching news, we heard from Lloyd that James Paxton is in fact on schedule to throw his 2nd rehab start tomorrow. So that is good news.
That is good news, and hopefully that will go well, because you would really like to see James get a few starts at the major league level before he goes into the winter.
He has said so much himself. There's a lot of time this year. Boy, that was in there, ruled a ball. That's a nasty curve.
Now at 90 pitches, Rob Rasmussen getting loose in the pen for the Mariners.
Broken bat. Marte out number 1. And there is Rasmussen. We've talked a lot about Marte offensively, Mike, for good reason. And in that play right there, we've seen him make some more spectacular plays defensively, but it seems like the routine play is something that he handles, well, routinely, which sounds like it would be an obvious thing, but that isn't always the case, especially for a young player.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's a situation where really he struggled with early in spring training this year. I thought he was able to get that work out towards the end of camp. I really like the way that he was playing. He's shown an ability to make all the plays at shortstop. He's athletic, has a good, strong throwing arm. Maybe not the strongest, but I think it works for what he is going to do.
Eaton trying to reach base for the 4th time, and he does.
Oh.
A single hit by a pitch and lays down a beauty.
Elias is a good athlete. He gets to it in good shape. Strong throw to first. Too much speed from Eaton on a well-executed bunt.
Every time Eaton has reached, he has scored. He scored a season-high 3 runs tonight, so Elias trying to snap that streak here in the 7th.
Well, we were talking about Marte, and I was talking to Chris Woodward a couple of days ago before we left on the road trip, just asking about Marte and what he thought about him in general and his arm strength and all of those things.
Takes the mask right off of Zunino.
And he said the same thing. He said that the thing with him right now is he's getting a lot of work, and he's a hard worker. He likes to see that. Continues to try to improve, work on his fundamentals. But I thought Chris said something that was interesting, and that was, he said, everything's going well for him right now. And he said, I want to see him what happens when he struggles at the plate for a couple of days, because that is going to happen. Rick Wade's making a trip out to the mound, and when he kicks a ball, you know, makes an error or two, and how he handles those situations, that'll be the next step for him.
Well, you see this shot right here, Cano and Marte, and Marte said that when he was in Tacoma this year, who knows if this is an exaggeration or not, he said Cano texted him every day. And even if it wasn't every day, let's just call it once a week, Mike. It's pretty impressive. These two clearly have a relationship even before Cattell got up here to Seattle.
Yeah, we saw him talking quite a bit in spring training, and Robbie trying to help him out. Well, I know Chris Woodward also told me, he was laughing about it, but when he saw him in the minor leagues when he was down in A-ball, And I think he said he was 18 or 19 years old. And Chris said with his movements and the way that he was going about his business, he had a smile on his face and asked him, who's your favorite player? And he said he already knew before he said it that it was going to be Cano. So it just so happens at the time Cano wasn't even in the organization. He was still a New York Yankee. But it's funny how those things work. But it's great to see Robbie taking that amount of time with a young player. And he talks to him all the time during the game. You see him constantly talking to him like we just did.
Trumbo holding Eaton at first after the bunt base hit. And now a pitch out.
Well, 95 pitches, 67 strikes. See him get a double play right here, get off the field, and that'll probably be it for him. Rasmussen still getting loose in the pen for the Mariners. Now we have a right-hander out.
There goes Eaton. Into right field, Cruz to make the catch, and Eaton quickly hustles back to first.
And now Lloyd McClendon out of the dugout. He's going to make a pitching change.
And it looks like Rasmussen sat down. Logan Kinsing warming up most recently. And there he is. We've got a pitching change. 2 outs. Eaton at first base, trying to keep him there. We'll step aside. Start for the Mariners since July the 2nd. His final line.
Well, if you look at it, 9 hits, 4 runs, only 3 of them were earned. Didn't walk anybody. A big key for him tonight. He had 3 strikeouts. He threw 96 pitches. He did hit a batter tonight. Really, the only problem he had was Adam Eaton. Yeah, good to go to Logan Kinsing. This will be just his 3rd appearance on the year. 2 2/3. He has 5 strikeouts. I like that number. 3 walks. Want to stay away from the walks. Opponent's hitting just 111 against him.
You're right about Eaton. He has reached base 4 times. He scored 3 of the White Sox 4 runs. And not a soft landing for Kinsing, who has to face Jose Abreu.
Abreu 2 for 3, has a double, scored a run, driven in a run.
Pitch strike to Abreu. Zunino stays with it, keeps Eaton with great speed at first. Now the base hit in the 3rd for Abreu tonight extended his hitting streak to now 8 games. He has 11 hits now in his last 8 contests, including tonight. Behind 0-2. It'll be Jackson, Cruz, and Cano due up for the Mariners when we get to the 8th. Gibson keeping a close watch on Eaton at first. And activity brewing, it looks like, inside the White Sox bullpen. Up and in.
Good fastball, 92 miles an hour with some run on it. Very able to get out of the way of it. So he comes back with a slider off the plate.
Clubbed left field. Goody right there for out number 3. Eaton stranded at first. That'll wrap up 7 innings. They go to the 8th. Mariners a chance to tie or take the lead. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Buy Jack in the Box for a limited time. Try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. By Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. And by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. A lovely view from the south side of Chicago. Looking into downtown. New pitcher up on the mound. It is Nate Jones, a right-hander, on the hill for the White Sox, facing Austin Jackson. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the Mariners here in the 8th.
Nate Jones on the year, 7 appearances, 2.45 ERA. Only hitting just 130 off of him. He's given up 1 home run. Saw the slider right there. He also has a plus fastball. He'll be 97 to 99 miles an hour with his fastball. Austin Jackson 1 for 3 tonight. Really like to see him find a way to get on base. Nelson Cruz waiting on deck. Give him a chance to tie this ball game up.
Mike, how about this almost pitch that we see in Jones's delivery?
I know it's unusual, but it seems to work for him. And every now and then you see that. You probably remember Carter Capps, a little bit unusual with his pitching style, and also throwing in the upper 90s.
Up the middle, a base hit. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. Second time for Jackson to reach. Now round up the guys and head to Safeco Field Saturday, September 12th for EQC Guys Night Out. Pick up a ticket, a drink voucher, and a Mariners cap with the built-in bottle opener, all for only $35. These specialty price tickets are available at mariners.com/guys.
Well, this will be a pretty good matchup. Again, Nate Jones, upper 90s with his fastball. We'll see if he decides to challenge Nelson Cruz.
Nelson looking for his second hit tonight. Missing with 98.
Nelson didn't like that call. He thought it was inside, maybe even borderline up.
Another strike. Both borderline, that time at 97.
Well, and as a hitter, that's the reason why he was upset with the first strike. He's called the ball here in a 2-0 count, but right now he feels he has to cover everything. Even maybe borderline pitches off the plate.
Bites that one off. Now the bullpen for the White Sox has been much better as of late. On the season, 7th in the American League. But since about the first week of the month, they've really hit their stride. An ERA not too far north of 2.
Well, it helps when you get an arm like this back in your bullpen. Just 7 appearances on the year. Certainly missed him. Saw him at Safeco Field. He topped out at 99.
Don Cooper, the longtime pitching coach. Keeping track of Jackson, who singled up the middle for a base hit to begin the top of this 8th inning. Cruz represents the tying run. Time call. Nelson sitting on 39 home runs, leading the major leagues. Caught looking at strike 3, and boy, he will probably be looking in the film room after that at bat.
Well, it's rare to see Nelson have that type of look on his face. I think he felt that a couple of the strikes called were balls off the plate.
It's a look of heartbreak there from Cruz. He knows how big this at bat is for his team. Late in the ball game here in the 8th. Now hands it over to Cano.
Cano with a couple of walks tonight, 0 for 1. He did score a run in the 7th inning. Scored on the home run by Gutierrez, who was waiting on deck.
A hit would extend Robinson's 7-game hitting streak. You look at the combo of Cruz and Cano. since the All-Star break, and it's hard to find a more deadly combination, a more deadly duo in the American League. These two have combined, Mike, to hit .344 since the All-Star break.
Well, we mentioned the run production of the Mariners, over 4.5 since the All-Star break, and those two a big reason why.
Cruz and Cano, 26 home runs since the break. They've driven in nearly 60. They have hit as many home runs since the All-Star break as Josh Donaldson and Jose Bautista of the Blue Jays. Left side, base hit. Jackson into second. Tying run aboard. And the go-ahead at the plate, and Gutierrez, who's already done damage tonight.
Well, Franklin Gutierrez in his last at bat, home run to right center field, his 9th home run on the year, and we'll take a look at it.
And Mike, what makes this so impressive, and you know much better than I do, the height that ball was hit, and then the opposite way. I mean, most guys, if they get that much air underneath it, that's on the warning track, that's in front of the track, but the opposite field power we've seen this year from Goody, it's been a really pleasant surprise.
It has been, and this is where you want to hit it out to right center field. It's typically where the ball will carry the best, and it carried on that home run for Gutierrez. Get out to basically where the Mariners bullpen is, towards the end of the stands towards center field, and the ball will really carry in that area.
Cano and Jackson aboard. You think about how this game has unfolded. The Mariners were being one hit when Cano dug in to start the top of the 7th. They had one hit, that was in the first. Rodon retired the side in order in 5 straight innings before Goody took him deep. And now 6 of the last 10 Mariners hitters have reached base. Saladino charging. Round number 2. Each runner moves up the station. Jackson to third. Cano to second.
On a fastball away from him, just ended up getting right on top of it. Sounded like it was off the end of the bat too. No problem for Saladino, the third baseman.
Take a look on our Alaska Airlines Supermo. Got Cooper out to pay a visit.
Nobody throwing in the pen for the White Sox right now. Trumbo with a base hit his last time up. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Seth Smith waiting on deck. Came on as a pinch hitter. Pinch hitting for Montero and hit a double.
Five home runs this month for Trumbo.
And he was looking for the good fastball, ended up getting a slider.
Mariners looking for their first hit tonight with a runner in scoring position, 0 for 5. And chases one well outside. Trumbo the go-ahead run. Tying run at second. That's Cano. Jackson the lead man at third. And play to Sanchez. Mariners strand 2 for the second straight inning. We go to the bottom of the 8th. White Sox by 2. profit will be donated to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation. Learn more about the foundation and the Protect Our West program at wffoundation.org. And we make our way to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mariners strand 2 for the 2nd straight inning. Kinsing back up on the mound. He took over for Roenis Elias. Elias went 6 2/3. Kinsing got Abreu to finish off the 7th.
It will be Garcia, Thompson, and Ramirez due up.
Garcia, a couple of RBIs tonight, a single and a sac fly. White Sox scored the first 4 runs of this ball game. The Mariners got 2 back on the opposite field moonshot by Goody. Franklin's 9th home run this season.
David Robertson getting loose in the pen for the White Sox closer. Former Yankee.
You can see him there. Big offseason acquisition for the White Sox, among others. You know, Mike, we were talking earlier tonight about Jesus Montero, and as you see Rasmussen loosening up for the 2nd time tonight, and a chance over this final, well, about a month left in the season for the Mariners, and you can say the same about plenty of members of the Mariners bullpen, for Jack and for Lloyd to kind of see what they've got.
No, you're absolutely right. And a number of the left-handers out there, Montgomery, Rasmussen, Rollins, young left-handers. This is the time when you want to make an impression. That's for sure. Just to help your situation going into next year.
Two-one, soft pop-up. Kinsing getting out of the way, and there is Trumbo. Take a look at our CenturyLink what's next for the rest of this 4-game series in Chicago. Taijuan Walker versus John Danks. The Mariners got the Danks back at Safeco Field. Daniil Akuma, Samardzija. Nice pitching matchup there on Saturday. Then the series comes to a close on Sunday. Trace Thompson, a former 2nd-round draft pick in 2009 out of high school. Only his 12th big league game tonight, and Mikey's been impressive.
Something that this league will try to do, especially with young players, rookies, is see if they can hit a good fastball. He has shown that he can do that. So Kinsing starts him off with a slider, comes right back with another off-speed pitch.
A couple of days ago, he was a triple shy of the cycle and a win over the Red Sox. And the early impression that he has made here in Chicago is such that when he was held out of the lineup yesterday, there were, you can imagine, the media stir and the stir by the fan base as well, wondering where is Trace Thompson. He's back in the lineup tonight. Up the middle, right to the leather of Logan Kinsing. Fielded that well. 2 outs.
And the little bit that we have seen of Thompson, he finds a way to get the barrel to the baseball. Even though Kinsing was able to make that play, he still hit it on the barrel.
Brings in Ramirez, hitless tonight. A strikeout victim his last time up. Facing Kinsing for the first time tonight. The 1-0. Kinsing really a fantastic story when you consider multiple surgeries on his arm. Pitching just ever so briefly in the big leagues back in 2013. 2/3 of an inning, one appearance. That was it with the Rockies. His last extended time in the majors in 2009 with the Nationals. Originally came up with the Marlins. Fought off, fair ball, first base. Side retired in order by Logan Kinsing. He retires all 4 men that he sees, and now the Mariners will have to face the White Sox closer. Down to their final 3 outs here tonight. Now facing David Robertson, the closer, the former Yankee, on here to work tonight for the White Sox.
Pretty good cut fastball from Robertson. Seth Smith going to lead things off. Brad Miller. Brad waiting on deck. You take a look at the numbers for him. 46 appearances, 26 saves. He has 6 blown saves on the year. 2.76 ERA. 68 strikeouts in the 49 innings. Big number for him. Opponent's hitting just 192. He has given up 4 home runs. On the bench for Lloyd McClendon, hitting left-handed, he still has Morrison and Seager.
Now those 6 blown saves you referenced, those are tied for the most in the big leagues this year. Robertson, a right-hander, has really had fine success against lefties, not just this year, but over the course of his career as well. Well,
I talked about the cut fastball from him, and I have to believe that a big impact coming over from the Yankees was Mariano Rivera, and Rivera was just like that. And it's because you go to attack it as a left-hander and he can get it deep into your hands, jam a lot of lefties.
Now this year, left-handed hitters like Smith batting beneath 170 against him. And since 2011, left-handed bats $173. That's it.
They just showed a pretty good curveball too to go along with the cut fastball.
To center. Eaton has to cover some territory, but not deep enough. 1 out.
And it looks like there's going to be a pinch hitter for Mike Zunino, and it looks like Kyle Seager is going to pinch hit.
Now we heard Lloyd say that even though Seager was not in the starting lineup tonight, a chance we would see him off the bench. Seager, a well-deserved day of rest mostly.
Well, I'll say he plays just about every single day, and he typically will play the entire game. Sometimes even when you get the blowout games on either side, we've seen him take Cruz and Cano out of the game, but Kyle's been in there, logged a lot of innings this year. I know that's the way that he wants it.
A ball and a strike to Miller, looking for his first hit tonight. Tying run on deck. And Eaton's path on number 2. Here is Seager. Now, since Seager became a regular in 2012, no player in the majors has appeared in more games than Seager, and this year he leads the majors in innings played, all positions, not just third baseman.
1,123 innings, leads everybody. I would say he deserved a day off. Still found a way to get in the ball game though.
Not a huge surprise.
White Sox have to shift on with Kyle hitting.
Lloyd said today to the media that he did not tell Seager that he was giving him the day off because he didn't want to have a fight. I didn't want to fight with him, said Lloyd. You could tell.
Just post the lineup and run back into the office.
That was basically a duck for cover. And Seager, who is as well mannered as any guy in the game, you could tell in the clubhouse at first when he saw the lineup, when he came in off the bus, he was not too pleased. For his own good, though.
As a manager, you love having guys like that.
You can see most among any Mariner player this year. Well, you never have to worry about if Seager can go or not. Kyle down to his final strike. Ramirez, the shortstop of the shift. Side sat down in order. That's the 6th time that happened tonight in 9 innings as the White Sox win it. The Mariners left some base runners near the end. Rodon was very tough to start things, Mike.
He was, but the Mariners were eventually able to get him out of the ball game. And I thought, first of all, Elias threw the ball well today. He ended up going 6 2/3, just 3 earned runs and not walking batter. But the Mariners are going to look back at that 7th inning. They get the 2-run home run from Gutierrez to start the inning off. And then after the double by Smith, 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. And they left them stranded. That's the one that's going to hurt.
That was a tough part. White Sox take game 1, a final score of 4-2. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. It starts right now with Angie and Bill. Guys, take it away.